alma mater to thy name will ever faithful be. Lift learning's torch to brighter flame, shed honor's light on thee. Where mountain blue meets sunset glow, our college stands serene. In passing years our friendships grow, in memory evergreen. O Madison, may wisdom clear guide us and prosper thee.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Spring Reunion Week at JMU. We are so excited to be with you this week. Of course, we wish that we were here together on campus, but so excited for what we have in store for you virtually this week. I am Carrie Combs, class of 2007-2009, and Director of Alumni Relations and Executive Director for the JMU Alumni Association. And I have the privilege of honor in leading the team here on campus. And I can just tell you that they have worked tirelessly this year to plan an exciting and engaging online experience for you. Before we get started, just a quick housekeeping item. You will not be able to turn your video or audio on during the event, but please submit any questions or technical issues that you may be having in the Q&A at the bottom of your screen. Believe it or not, this week we have over 20 classes represented, ready to engage and share about their Madison experiences. And we, of course, want to give a special shout out and celebration and happy 50th reunion to the classes of 1970 and 1971. So although we can't see you, I hope that you're waving your purple pom-poms and just super excited to welcome you guys and celebrate you throughout the week. There we go. Thanks, Nick. You got it. And I have the privilege of introducing Dr. Nick Langridge, class of 2000, 2007, and 2014. And he is currently our Vice President and Fearless Leader for University Advancement. For those of you that may not know Nick quite as well, he previously served 5 years as the Assistant to the President for JMU President Dr. Linwood Rose. And in addition, Dr. Langridge has had the responsibility for university planning, the Office of Institutional Research within Student Affairs and within university planning. His prior experience was also in intercollegiate athletics at JMU, serving as the director of the Duke Club and then assistant athletic director for development for Major Gifts. He has earned all 3 of his degrees from Madison, so can certainly relate to you as you guys are reminiscing about your own Madison experiences. And Nick currently resides in Harrisonburg with his wife, Jill, class of 2000 and 2003, and their 3 beautiful children. So I'm going to turn it over to Nick to help us continue our celebration.
Thanks, Carrie. It is so wonderful to be with you all tonight. And I just ate dinner at D Hall, which was wonderful. I'm sure you can all relate with that experience. And I walked back through that wonderful space between D Hall and Carrier Library and Kiesel Hall. And as I walked past Carrier Library, I saw graduates who were taking pictures in front of the fountain and in front of some of the cherry blossoms as well. So it was, I wish you guys could see the view out my window. There's literally people taking pictures of graduates in their purple gowns. It's a very heartening feeling. And spring has sprung at JMU. There's flowers everywhere you look, and the quad is full of vitality again. So I want to start by doing something we usually do a bit differently. So usually I think we give a shout out to the person who's traveled the farthest to be here on reunion day, but thankfully you didn't have to travel today. I wish you guys could be here, but nobody had to travel. So instead, we're going to give a special shout out to our most senior attendee. And so Ms. Dee Dee Francis, class of 1951, is with us today. And Dee Dee, I understand, is a big lover of our libraries and our special collections. They are such a treasure, such an absolute treasure. I agree with you, Dee Dee, and we're so glad that you could be with us tonight and represent the class of 1951. So with that, let's go ahead and launch into an update about your alma mater. So you think about JMU then, and you think about JMU now, and certainly a lot has changed, but many things have remained the same. And I was reminded of that on a tour that I gave this past week. I actually was going to our university recreation center where students exercise these days, and a tour guide there took over. And I listened to her speak to the family who was visiting and the prospective student. And she said, you know, at JMU, we hold doors for each other an awkward long time, but it's a holding doors mentality that prevails over the entire campus. And she said it's just a focus on others and on being kind. And that's the kind of friendly campus that attracted me here in 1996. I imagine many of you can relate with that same feeling, but it was totally unscripted. And she just said, JMU is a place that I feel like I belong, and a place that I feel like I can call home. But it's that emotional quality you can't see it, you can't touch it. You just feel like JMU is a place you can belong, and you can be someone by being yourself. And that feeling has transcended. But let's give you a sense of what JMU looks like today in maybe some newer ways. We'll start with some facts. So how many students are enrolled today? 21,889. Over 19,000 of those are undergrads, and just short of 2,000 are graduate students. You can see the male and female ratio has closed some, still predominantly female, but it has come a little more even. That student faculty ratio has stayed true, 16 to 1. So we have committed to ourselves not to grow unless we can keep that strong and intimate student faculty relationship and that ratio of 16 to 1. The percentage of classes taught by professors is 98%. JMU is still a university you can attend, and you're not worried, are you going to get a teaching assistant or a GA teaching your classes? You're going to get a professor. And outcomes, everybody cares about outcomes, 82% graduation rate. And look at how many degree programs students have to choose from. 76 undergraduate programs, 53 master's programs now, and 8 doctoral programs. So that's your JMU of today. So with all those 76 undergraduate programs to choose from, it's no surprise that the most popular major for the incoming freshman class was undecided. Why not come and try on a bunch of shoes and see which fits the best? And that's what general education really is all about, and affords you the opportunity to do, is take a sampling of so many different types of classes around all of the colleges. But there you see number 2 is nursing, 3 biology, 4 psychology, 5 health sciences, 6 marketing, 7 computer science, 8. Did you guys know that we have an engineering program that's over 10 years old now? Engineering is number 8. Management, back to the College of Business. And while it's really more of a pre-professional program, pre-med is number 10. For those of you who are sticklers and said, that's not a major, number 11 is finance, if you were curious. So, but look at how JMU has grown. This is what your students are thinking about as they come in as freshmen. The class size of the freshman class was 4,608. They represented 12 countries and 36 states. So this is some exciting news as well. For years, Madison has been ranked one of the top public regional comprehensive universities in the South. We find ourselves on the cusp of a new ranking, and that new ranking is a transition we experience based on the Carnegie classification of higher ed institutions. And we are going to be moving from a regional comprehensive classification to what's called a Research 2 national university. So we're not a big R1, not a large research university, but we will be an R2 based on the number of master's programs and doctoral graduates that we have. And so JMU will be in a new category in rankings. We will be in the national university category. This is exciting. It's also daunting, as we'll be competing against the top universities in the country who have far more resources than we have. But we know that Madison will rise to the occasion just like it always has. And we're very excited to see this transition happen over the next couple of years. As we become a Research 2, don't worry, our focus is still on the student, and we'll be leveraging more and more undergraduate opportunities for research and retaining our strong teacher-scholar model. Caitlin? This is great news as well. Outcomes. For the second year in a row, JMU was ranked Virginia's best school for getting a job. This is based on Department of Education data. And so from a return on investment standpoint, we see that Madison is providing students with the skills that employers are seeking. And we do a lot of tuning between our employers and our colleges so that we continue to put our students in the best position to be successful after graduation. Athletics, lots going on the athletics front. Some of you know we're playing a football game at 2 o'clock this Saturday against Richmond. Two undefeated football teams in the Colonial Athletic Association going head to head here in Harrisonburg. But this photo you're looking at is a picture of the new Atlantic Union Bank Center, home to our women's and men's basketball program, and where many commencements and concerts and large student convocations will take place in the future. We're really excited about this space. Some of you may have heard that our men's basketball team went from worst last 2 seasons ago to first this past season. So worst to first, and we won the regular season CAA championship. So already seeing great outcomes from the new Atlantic Union Bank Center. As many of you know, President Alger from day one has put a strong emphasis on diversity. But in this season, it's been more heightened than ever. And there's a lot going on in the diversity, equity, and inclusion front. Some of you know Dr. Brent Lewis was hired into our Student Affairs Division and is working specifically with students on diversity, equity, inclusion matters. In addition to that, our Center for Multicultural Student Services, which has served so many students over the decades, is going to get a new prime location. Many of you might not be familiar with the Student Success Center. That's the old Rockingham Memorial Hospital, which the university purchased over a decade ago and has been renovated. And now Student Success is one of the most popular destinations for students. So the new location for the Center for Multicultural Student Services is going to be right on the first floor of Student Success. So fantastic opportunity for increased student engagement. We also have a task force on racial equity that is meeting currently and preparing key recommendations for administrators here at the university to take and to partner with their staffs to see JMU continue to grow in ways that are more inclusive and welcoming to students and faculty of all backgrounds. This includes representatives from the Parents Council. We've had a lot of alumni involvement on this as well, but this is a over 100-person task force, multiple committees hard at work, and we're already seeing good outcomes coming from that task force. Spring enrollment. So it's a lot harder to greet your prospective students in the middle of a pandemic. And so, JMU's known so much for the personal touch. So what have we done? So many creative minds came together, and we've had scavenger hunts. As you can see, this prospective student participating in a scavenger hunt using her phone and a map and some materials provided in that backpack. We've had an event that usually happens on campus called Choices. We've held that virtually, and we've actually engaged more people through the virtual Choices. So many students in states farther and farther away were able to attend because they didn't have to travel here. And so that was actually a plus. But the good old JMU personal touch is still alive. My hand's been cramped the last couple of weeks writing postcards to admitted students, reaching out to people in personal ways. And we continue to see the volume of students and their families traveling campus by foot. And we're out in abundance, welcoming them and asking them if we can show them around or answer any questions. So don't worry, that warm JMU hospitality still perseveres. Commencement. We are so thrilled. Given new guidelines released by the governor, we were able to shift to an in-person commencement. It's going to take a lot of fancy footwork, though. We'll be having 8 ceremonies over 3 days, and we'll have to move them outside and into our football stadium. So rain or shine, here we come. We're looking forward to having a socially distanced and safe, but in-person college commencement ceremonies. There will be a virtual university-wide ceremony, but we're so thrilled to be able to celebrate the class of 2021 in person. As we prepare for the fall, we're thrilled to say most classes are going to return in person. We are getting back to teaching in person. We continue to tune with the Commonwealth's guidelines and the CDC and the VDH, and we'll continue to grow on-campus activity as those restrictions become loosened. But we're also looking for new ways to create experiences, especially for the freshman class that just didn't have the freshman year they were looking forward to. They have persevered in such great ways, and I'll tell you just a quick anecdotal story. I heard a story shared with me about the biosphere in Arizona. And in Arizona, there's this big greenhouse, and they were growing plants and crops and trees. And they brought in all the, soil and water and, of course, sunlight. I think they had all the nutrients they needed. But these trees were growing up, and they'd get, 20 to 30 feet tall, and they were falling over and dying. They looked perfectly healthy on the outside. And so they're scratching their heads. Why are these trees dying? Well, some tree experts said, well, you're missing 2 things. One, you're missing wind. The adversity of wind thickens the bark and makes trees more resistant to insects and disease. And some of the adversity of wind, if not too adverse, can actually cause roots to anchor and steady the tree as it grows. The second thing they're missing is drought. Drought causes roots to go down deeper, seeking water, and further roots and strengthens the base of the tree. So as educators, as parents, we all want to protect our students, and we want to put them in a greenhouse, and we want to give them all the water and soil and nutrients and sunlight that they need. But the reality is, to grow up tall and strong and bear fruit, they've got to face some wind, and they've got to face some drought. This year, our students have faced wind and drought, and they've persevered in amazing ways. We're so proud of them, and we believe they're emerging stronger and more ready to graduate and grow tall and strong and bear fruit after graduation. All right, giving update. I just want to thank you. I can't thank you enough. In May, many of you know we had a Madison for Keeps campaign that raised $759,000 in immediate scholarship aid, cash right then in that month. And we were able to help retain an incredible number of Dukes. Over 130 Dukes were actually retained. We thought it was going to take $5,000 to save, to keep a Duke a Duke. Students whose families have been financially impacted in a negative way due to the pandemic. We needed 6,000 per student. So we ended up being able to keep 130 Dukes. And Giving Day recently, some of you participated in that, raised over $800,000 from over 5,000 donors. And all of this pushed us across our initial goal milestone of $200 million in our comprehensive campaign, nearly a year and a half early. So thank you so much for being a part of that. All right. Well, that wraps up the state of the university. Hopefully you learned something new. And now, Caitlin, why don't you take us into a really special tribute video to Cindy Coolbaugh.
Cindy Coolbaugh was a member of the class of 1970 at what was then Madison College. Cindy grew up in New Jersey. She was a military kid. Her dad was a colonel in the United States Air Force. Cindy graduated from Ramapo Regional High School in New Jersey near McGuire Air Base, where her dad was stationed. And, as a military kid, she really never met a stranger. So she was very keen on meeting new people. And it wasn't very long before, I entered Madison that I made an acquaintance of Cindy because she lived on my floor. She was extremely involved in student government. And in fact, our senior year was legislative vice president of student government. She also, I believe, for the first part of our schooling was involved in the Honor Council, was a member of Alpha Sigma Alpha sorority, and when we graduated was elected to Who's Who in American colleges and universities, and was also voted one of the outstanding members of our class. International Atomic Energy Agency has fingers that reach across the whole world, and their main goal is to try to see that nuclear energy is used for not military proliferation, but for the help and the success of mankind. She was an events coordinator, but then confided to some of us one summer that she actually donned a burqa and was climbing around inside missile silos as part of the team that was checking for compliance with Iran. So, I mean, this idea of her just being the hostess for this group was actually not really, I think it was really more of a, even though she was doing that, I think it was more of a cover for some other very intensive work. And really, I'm so grateful to David Doan, her son, that he said, no, we can't think of a better place for this award to be. I think it's just a real source of pride, I guess I would say, for the class to be able to point to that and say, I knew her. I knew her when she was a girl, and she lived out what I can't believe I'm getting emotional. Usually I don't do this. She lived out what she believed. I'm here to honor her and just to speak for her friends and classmates, and that I'm really proud to have been her friend.
Well, thank you, Barbara. And we certainly are grateful to David, Cindy's son, for sharing this outstanding award with us. Right behind me here is that Nobel Peace Prize for 2005. Cindy will always be remembered for her achievements here at Madison. And we're so grateful for David and Barbara sharing this with us here at JMU. At this point, I would like to introduce two of my colleagues, Mr. Jordan Williams and Mr. Luis Sanchez, who represent the Office of Annual Giving.
Thank you, Nick, and thank you, Barbara, for such a wonderful tribute. Hearing stories like that really remind us what Madison is all about. Thank you to everyone for being here. Hello, my name is Jordan Williams. I'm the Associate Director for Annual Giving and a proud member of the class of 2016 this year. And Luis, if you want to introduce yourself.
Good evening and happy reunion week. My name is Luis Sanchez, Assistant Director of Annual Giving.
Thank you all for being here with us to kick off reunion weekend. We have the distinct pleasure this evening of announcing your reunion giving totals for this year. I think Caitlin's gonna share those slides with us. All right. We had such an amazing turnout this year, and all the classes came in full force with such a strong showing of support for the university in honor of their year. And we want to give a special thank you to everyone who was involved on our class committees for all their efforts in reaching out to their classmates and encouraging people to show up for this week of events despite sort of the unorthodox style. But we're super excited just to have the opportunity to have us all together and to celebrate not only your all's legacy here at Madison, but the collective impact that you all continue to make through your giving. And to sum it all up, we have raised, or you all have raised, $11,623,506 for the university. And you all have donated to scholarships, programs, general funds, and just so much more here at JMU, making a significant impact on every aspect of the university. We thank you all so much for your generosity. This is such an impressive number. And, Nick, we would usually be handing you a giant check that's worthy of the size of a contribution like this. But either way, it is our absolute honor and privilege to present these gifts to you and the university on behalf of these classes. And you can see here is the class breakdown. Our 50th classes coming out in full force in honor of their Bluestone year, but almost every single class had hundreds of donors come out and show support for, again, the various programs across campus. So we cannot thank you all enough.
All right, well, that's cause for bringing out the pom-poms again. Way to go, class of 1970 and 71, and all of our reunion classes. You stepped up. You're leaving Madison better than you found it through your giving. And there are three ways of giving we talk about here at JMU. There are annual gifts that we make every year as we're able. Sometimes we're led to do something more than we're used to, and we make a major gift. And that's the second way. And then lastly, many of us will leave Madison in our estate plans and leave a legacy, a lasting legacy here at Madison. And so I want to thank all of you for the ways you've given in this 11 million. All three ways of giving are represented. You've given to many different things. You've given to scholarships, you've given to athletics, you've given to academics. You've given to capital projects, and we are grateful for everything that you have supported here at Madison. So on behalf of John Alger and everyone here at JMU, thank you so very much. All right, it's thank you, Jordan and Luis. Great to see you, gentlemen. It is now my pleasure to introduce a great friend and actually a new alum, and that is my friend Aaliyah McLean. Aaliyah is class of 2020, And I think when she was originally going to speak at this event last year, she would have been speaking as a student, and she was your student body president. But now you get to hear from one of the brightest lights and brightest young alums. She is a scholarship recipient. She is a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha Incorporated. She is a founding member or founder of Women of Color. She served as our student body president, and she currently works with Mayor LeVar Stoney in Richmond, Virginia. Aaliyah McLean, everyone. Welcome, Aaliyah.
Thank you so much for having me and for the warm welcome. I'm so glad to be here, and though it's virtual, it still brings me chills watching just videos of Madison singing the fight song. I was over here in my seat just going away. And so it's so great to be here. And so, yes, my name is Aaliyah McLean. I graduated this previous May. I can't believe it's going up on a year next month during a pandemic, which is very interesting. But one thing that I will say is Madison College has surely not changed since you all have left your mark there. The spirit that you all created is still alive to this day, and it's an honor to be a part of a group of trailblazers and that we get to carry on the legacy that you all left for us. And so a little bit about me, how it all started. My journey with Madison was not easy. And like many, JMU was not my first choice. And not because I didn't like what it had to offer, because if I would have known it then, it would have been my first choice. But because I am a Richmonder and did not want to leave far from home with a lot of family things and wanted to help out my family. But thankfully, because of programs like the Prospective Students Weekend and Duke for a Day, I had the chance to go stay at JMU overnight, which was funded, and spend the night with the host and go to their classes and go to events and learn more about Madison, not just what you see on Choices or during your admissions trip, but when you're there actually living out that everyday spirit that you all created. And so once I got there, I was sold and could not leave. It was the energy that I felt when I walked on campus. It was the connections and the people that were just so friendly, like he was saying, but you can still feel it through our screens today. And I was like, oh yeah, I'm sold, I'm coming here. Well, I made that decision, came to JMU after paying my deposit for another school, and just continued to fall in love, but still then felt like something was missing, and kind of questioned like, what is my place here in Madison? And in a way, it made me question myself, what am I doing and how am I giving back to this university? Just like it's kind of giving so much to me. And so luckily, because of the resources and the student activities and involvement, office and center, I was able to create an organization with a few of my friends called Women of Color. And we were like, our goal is to help other women of color feel at home and just be their best selves. Because in a way, I know we all say, you become someone when you go to college, but really we were always these people. But Madison gave you those keys and those tools to really unleash that self. And so it was really cool. We started an organization and just had the full support of everyone on campus and getting to do that. Well, then I was just like, okay, there's so much more we could also be doing. And so I heard about the alternative breaks program and was like, let's go on a break. Let's go serve a different area and see, let's just learn about a social issue and let's get involved that way. And I had the opportunity to go on an alternative break. And then a year later, I found myself working in the community service learning office, giving that chance to other students who kind of came in just like me. And again, all these things, I'm just like, I cannot believe this is happening. Then after that, I fell in love with service and was like, I really want to study abroad. But study abroad's kind of looking a little bit too expensive. And I was just like, I'm still going to apply anyways. I applied to go to Ghana for the program and the internship. So it was about 2 months. And I was really grateful and really blessed to receive a scholarship to pay for my program and study abroad in that program. And so I got to study abroad. I got to do all these things. I went to Ghana, came back changed and just fired up of how am I going to give back to other students? how am I going to give this experience? And I think one day it just kind of hit me, like I'm getting all these opportunities, and I'm getting all these resources because of the donors like you all. And because of the things that you have done for us and kind of the paying it forward. And I never thought about it before. And I was like, well, I guess, going a little back, this was my first year when I realized that moment. And I was like, I want to give. I heard about Giving Day. I said, I'm going to give. I don't have that much money, but we're going to give what I can. And I did. And I gave to like several different programs, because I realized how much that meant to me, because I had these opportunities and I wanted to make sure another student got that same choice. And recently I was cleaning my office space the other day, and I found my first Giving Day card that was thanking me for my first donation at JMU on it was Pi Day, March 14th in 2017. And it kind of gave us all our records and everything like this. And I actually keep this, and I'm going to frame it actually, and I'm going to keep it at my desk, of that reminder of paying it forward like you all did for me and gave me those experiences. And now as I get established in my career and my life, I want to make sure the future Dukes have it too, whether it's in time, money, or even in giving them those connections. I want to be sure. And so I am so thankful to be here. I'm so thankful for JMU, because I truly would not be who I am today without JMU helping me see who I could be and unleashing that in me. And I just always tell my friends and tell everyone again, $5 goes such a long way. And so whatever I can do, whether it's time, money, or connecting someone to a resource, I want to pay it forward just like you all did for me. So thank you all so much for everything that you do and you continue to do at the university. And congratulations on your reunions.
Thank you, Olia, so much for your story, for your contributions. You are such a rock star, and we just love hearing what you're up to. And I love that you still have your first Giving Day card. That's so awesome. I was like, I got to go back through and dig to see where mine is. So just thank you for sharing so much of yourself with us and the way that you continue to contribute to Madison, even though you're not on campus anymore. So thanks for being with us this evening. And we are going to now introduce you to our amazing committee chairs, Barbara Benham and Steve Smith. They are our class of 1970 chair in 1971, and they are here just to wish you all a great week and happy reunion. And they have just been such our huge rock stars of leading our committees, especially as we've been navigating the best ways to celebrate and reminisce together this coming week. And we really just owe it to them for their creativity, their flexibility, and their ingenuity. And I just want to turn it over to these two amazing individuals to say hello and welcome to Reunion Week. Hi, Barbara. How's Steve?
Hi there. How are you?
Hello.
It's a wonderful presentation.
Yes, absolutely. Just the tip of what's to come, right?
Hopefully, yes. I'm looking forward to it. Now, I assume I'm supposed to go first. Is that correct?
Yes.
Because
Why don't
I'm
you kick
older?
us off, Barbara, and then we'll let Steve wrap us up.
Okay, super. That would be just great. Steve, I can't see you, but hello there.
Hello, Barbara.
Hi, everybody from the class of 1970. And I wish I could give you all a big hug and just a great big smile face to face, but consider my greetings to you virtual and very heartfelt. Before I begin anything, I just want to thank some people who did the lion's share of getting all of this together. And I'm going to name them. The committee members for the class of 1970 were Ellen Tillery, Dee Raines, Sharon Ogden, Chris Shelton, Carl Nordstrom, Mandy Carr, Deborah Dickerson, Louise Nyland, and Barbara Estep. And of course, great thanks goes to those gals and to Louis Sanchez, who were in the alumni office, who guided us through this procedure. And that would be Caitlin West, Jessica Savoy, Kathy Sarver, and Louis Sanchez, who I just mentioned. I want to thank all of you for being so patient with us. Those of us in the class of 70 who are technology nerds and are not nerds, but technology wannabes. We had a lot of trouble, some of us, getting things going. Couple of things I wanted just to talk about for a second, and I've got my timer going so I don't run over my allotted time. I want to also thank President Alger for all of his support so that these reunions can take place virtually. It's just been a ton of work for everybody, and hopefully during the next week when we can meet in these smaller groups, we can visit a little more, and I do look forward to seeing everybody. I won't be at that craft thing though, I just don't do crafts. So I will stop in and say hi to everybody on the different things that have been planned. You know, my class, the class of 1970, our class, we were really the end of the beginning of the old Madison College, and Steve's class of 1971, they were really the beginning of the university. We came to school on September 7th, 1966, and I kept some of the paperwork, believe it or not. That was the day we showed up at Madison. We were 900 and some strong. We were the largest first-year class to ever enter Madison College. And we graduated with about 500, I think it was 537 graduates. The class was mostly women. A lot of the girls left to get married, to transfer. Some just didn't want to stay in college after a year or two and left. So we ended up graduating a little more than half of our class, but it was an enormous class for the college. We couldn't live off campus. We were the last class, I believe, to go all 4 years at Madison under the in loco parentis laws of the state of Virginia and of course federal government. The bill to let 18-year-olds vote wasn't passed until after we graduated from college, and that would have been passed in 1971. So as I said, our class was the first in some things and we were the last in others. We were the last class to have President G. Tyler Miller be our president. That was one of our last things. Sherry Darkus was the first African-American to ever attend Madison College, and she was in our class. And now there's a dorm being named after her on the quad, which is wonderful. There were many things that are different nowadays, as will be pointed out, and as we've seen, you know, if we've been reading our magazines when we get them. But the school still continues to have a very homey feeling. And when I've talked to people who have had relatives or children or grandchildren attend, they have been very, very positive about the community of care that Madison was, well, is now, but was even when Steve and I and all the rest of us in these two classes were back in school long, long ago. I do remember in 1970, the class of 1920 held its 50th reunion on the quad. And Carolyn Cook was our May Queen, and Lois Evans Cron was her first attendant. And I had to make an appearance over with this class of 1920 and talk to them. It was a sort of an official visit because I was serving as the class president at that time. And I was asked to go over and talk to these old ladies, really. Of course, I'm one of them now. But anyway, I remember going over there and looking at all of these gals with their hats and their matching pumps and their matching purses. And, you know, they were talking about school in the olden days and all of this. And I thought, good grief, 50 years, that's going to be me. And I thought, oh, someday. And then I quickly, at 21 years old, dusted that right out of my head very fast. And of course, in a blink of an eye, here we are at 50 and 51 years respectively. It's really been quite a ride. Those of us have had who have been, you know, our age group, I guess, especially and now that we're older, we've really suffered in a different way with COVID, with isolation and that sort of thing. And again, back to the administration and the alumni office, I do thank them so much for allowing us the privilege to visit even over the Zoom. It's just a wonderful thing. A couple of other funny things. Our curriculum back then was so restrictive and very heavily emphasized liberal arts, music, art, fine literature, history, Western civilization, and we all had to learn to swim. We could not graduate without getting that certificate from the state of Virginia that we could make it across the pool and without drowning ourselves. So that was one of the other things that I found to be so funny about everything. But looking back on the last time since my class was together, which is about 11 years ago, we've suffered a lot of loss, classmates and friends and family members over the last probably 10 years that have really hit home for so many of us, that now that we're all either 72 or 73. And I remember back when we started school at Madison, some of us had not yet had our 18th birthdays. We celebrated our birthdays in the dorm kitchens because that's just what we did. And that was a long, long time ago. And those memories are very dear to all of us, I think. There are certain places of our hearts, like the houses we grew up in as children. And that's my thing to get off my moan. But there are places in our hearts, and certainly JMU, the old Madison College, is one of those places for me. And I know those of you in my class, I know you feel the same way. And I'm very, very grateful that we're able to celebrate this way. I'm very happy now to turn it over to Steve Smith. And I want to again thank the Alumni Office for putting together such a lovely program this evening, which gave us a very nice overview of the college and university. So thank you very much. And I look forward to visiting with you during this week. Take it away, Steve.
Barb, that was great. That was absolutely great. Thank you so much. One thing, no matter where you are, whether you're here in Harrisonburg, where I am, or all over the world, I think we all are so proud of our education when we were at Madison College back in the 60s and 70s, but we're also so very proud of what this institution has become. Who would have thought that there's 7 times as many students at JMU now as there were when we were students there? I think the entire freshman class this year is larger than all of the classes of alumni from 1960 to 1969. So it's just amazing that the growth that's taken place at the university. And all you got to do is look at a young alum like Aaliyah, and it doesn't take rocket science to realize why we have paid it forward for these students and these young alumni to become and be so successful. I am very proud of JMU. And I had the opportunity to work at Madison right after we graduated in the admissions office, worked there for a number of years there, then became the director of alumni relations, later worked in advancement as associate vice president for constituent relations, got to know thousands of alumni at JMU. And so many of those individuals have become lifelong friends. I still keep up with a lot of fraternity brothers. I still keep up with a lot of your sorority sisters as well. It's just been a wonderful ride. And while I know that doing this virtually is not what we had signed on for, we sure hope to be able to do this face to face. I want to commend, as Barb did, I want to commend the advancement staff, Nick and Carrie, and especially people like Caitlin West and Jessica Savoy, who've really done a great job. Louis Sanchez and Jordan Williams, thank you all. They've had their challenges, to say the least, in trying to make sure that these reunions are going to be successful and going to be inclusive for a lot of alumni. So thank you all so very much. We're not face to face, and that's too bad. But I've already talked to some folks who are friends of mine from the class of 1972. We have a standing invitation to come back in about a year and to celebrate face to face. And I think every spring, when the new class is inducted into the Bluestone Society as their 50th class, we're invited to come back. So for those of you in the class of 70 and the class of 71, keep that in mind for next April, and hopefully we can see each other face to face. And my hat's off to Dee Dee Francis, class of 51. who, if my math is anywhere close, might be in her early 90s, which I think it's terrific that she's remaining a part of these kind of activities. So hats off to you, Dee Dee. Good for being a part of this. And I won't belabor the point, but for now, let's just have a great celebration this week. There are all kinds of opportunities and all kinds of Zoom meetings that are taking place. I think there's one tomorrow. I know there's one tomorrow at 7 p.m. Called Tell Me About It Tuesday. That'll give all of us a chance to kind of catch up with each other on what people have been doing for the last 50 years. So I think we all get together about 7. Class of 70 goes one direction, class of 71 goes another direction, and we can kind of do some individual catching up with people. So congratulations again to the class of 71, to the class of 70, and to all the other folks who are here celebrating their class reunions. And I too want to thank Sherry Eller Sheritz, as well as Donna Farmer Butler, who have been very instrumental in helping to reach out to individuals to try and get them involved with this class reunion. So thanks, everybody. And I'm not sure where we go from here.
I think you guys did a great job of wrapping us up. We are just grateful for your leadership and what's to come this week, and know that you have a standing invitation to visit us on campus when it's safe, and we're ready to welcome you with open arms. So with that, have a great week. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to the office at any point. And we look forward to seeing you at all the activities to come. Go Dukes.